This is the farmhouse where I grew up, where my father grew up, where my grandfather grew up, where my great-grandfather grew up. The main house was built in 1860. We got electricity in 1943 with the Rural Electrification Act. And now what I am doing is I'm removing the majority of the 1960 updates and reverting the era back to somewhere between 1920 and 1950. I'm going to show you each room in the order that I did them years ago. While I am no more of a carpenter or a designer than any member of my family has ever been, I'm doing it to suit me and my tastes. Every nightstand has to have a reading light, assuming that you actually read when you get in bed before you go to sleep. So here is my original reading light. It was a picture light that was supposed to be screwed onto a wall, and I just screwed it to the headboard of my old bed, and it worked okay. It was old enough that what I would consider period, and I used that for about a year or so, and it had a conventional light bulb in it, as you see, and there's the amount of light it threw out, which was enough to read a book, read a magazine, whatever. However, with the new bed and the new nightstand, it had to be completely reworked. So it was unscrewed from the old bed before it got tossed, and I decided it had to be freestanding. I'm not going to screw it to something. I found this brass base on eBay, so I bought it. Then I cut off some of the old lamp's mounting tail and just saved the last hole, then rounded off the corners, and as you can see, I took a screw and put it through the top and cranked it down with a washer on the bottom. Then we're going to need a switch, so I proceeded to drill a hole in the side of the base, and flipping it over there you can see the hole for the switch, and the switch is a Twitic latching push button switch. They're little mini things that you buy them on Amazon. I think it's a 4-pack. So then you've got to run the wire. So I ran the old wire from the light down the stalk, drill a hole in the base in the back so that you could get down to the switch. And then just with some mini wire nuts, I wired it up. And then I used some hot glue to hold everything in place. And I decided at this time I'm going to upgrade the bulb to an LED. And so I got this Fight Electric BP20T61. It is I would say it's about between 2700 and 3500 Kelvin. It's a 2-watt LED, is good enough to read by. So there is my finished light, and I went to test it, and there it is on the bed stand next to the bed, and I thought it was going to work. However, when you turn it on and start reading with it, the lamp is too low, and you got too much of an angle to the book or magazine or whatever, so I needed it higher. The thing to do was to go to Grand Brass and get a 10-inch threaded tube, 1/8 thread. And here in this image you can see all the parts. You've got the stalk and the socket and the little light reflector, the bulb, and the angle piece that allows the head to tip. And then there's the length of the old tube against the length of the new tube. So it's going to be much taller than it was. And that is adjustable because, as you can see at the top of the stalk, there is an adjustment, so you can move it up and down to get the exact height you want. And at this time, I thought it would be good to put brand new wiring in it because that wiring probably was at least 50 years old. So from Home Depot, I got this yellow lamp cord. I ran the lamp cord up through the stalk and into the socket, as you see, and connected it up, and then just rewired the whole thing the switch and redid the base with the wire nuts. And there is the light. Yes, it looks tall and a little gangly. However, it does work very nicely. And there is a picture of it when it is lit, that it lights the area that I want, because I generally read on my left side with the magazine laying on the bed. And that is the perfect angle for what I wanted. So that is how I took an old picture light and turned it into a light on my nightstand next to my platform bed in the bed renovation.